What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punteri. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. Pittsburgh Steelers had a snooze fest of a day as the rest of the NFL outside of, well, the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders had on day one officially of free agency that kicks off in, 4 minutes ago. And all the deals are already done. It's a gloomy one here in the Berg. As always, shout out to our members and our subscribers. If you want to become an AST Nation member or a Steelers Intel member, new video out today, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below. Outside of tired. How you feeling, my friend?
Slightly disappointed. And we were talking about this off camera, as we were getting ready for the show here. Like, we all fall into the same trap where we want the team to be so active and aggressive, and we are expecting nonstop action from the moment the official tampering window opens until the first preseason game or something like that. Unfortunately, that can't be the case, but I really did think that Monday set a precedent for a lot of action for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, the league year kicks off and you're like, well, do something.
I say it all the time that when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I feel like Steelers fans as a whole are always like, the Steelers are not doing anything. They never do anything. Historically, the Steelers have the same pattern. They go super fast on maybe one exciting move, but it's usually super underwhelming. And then it just dies to nothing. And then it's the sprinkle of stuff. But the second wave happens. And when it happens, you get guys like a couple of years ago, Cole Holcomb. A couple of years ago, Miles Jack at one point. It tends to, maybe it's all inside linebackers, be a pattern where they come back. And this time, I don't know about you. To me, it's like you still have some pretty big moves left. You still need a left guard because Brock Hoffman is not signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite reports that he was signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you, I guess, don't need a left tackle, but you should get a left tackle. You still need a tight end 3. You still need a quarterback, essentially, which we'll dive into here in a moment. The one name that did get signed yesterday after the podcast, Darnell Savage, safety 3. You got to hope. What's your thoughts on him?
Safety 3. Look, I wish this is where part of that disappointment begins to set in here, because I have expressed my sort of unease at the safety situation right now. It seems like all signs are pointing towards Jalen Ramsey being the starter alongside Deshaun Elliott. That could be fine. I worry about the depth. You add a guy like Darnell Savage, yes, plenty of snaps in the NFL, plenty of experience.
Mm-hmm.
He is truly a depth player, a rotational player. What happens if the Jalen Ramsey experiment does not go as planned in 2026? What happens if they are just relying on a player like Darnell Savage to make up the difference? That's, for a team that gave up so many passing yards last season and they're trying to improve it for 2026, I would have liked to have seen a more of an upgrade at the safety position. But maybe it's pointing towards, and I'm trying to be optimistic, that maybe this is pointing towards a draft priority for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe a safety is now in play in an earlier round when maybe it was not before this tampering window opened. So good player. Don't want to come off as disrespectful to Darnell Savage. He's going to be a nice fresh mix, a fresh face in the new mix of players. I just wish they would have gone for a little bit more of an upgrade.
I agree. I think that you could have had somebody that was exciting. But again, I don't look at this as if Darnell Savage comes in here and starts, it's a massive disappointment. But I don't expect that to be the case. I think Jalen's the guy and Darnell is the new Chuck Clark, and they go and draft somebody. And I think that's where we're at in the process. Is the Steelers had, and that's kind of how I'm looking at this, is the Steelers had an opportunity to sign somebody that Mike McCarthy was familiar with, that could come in here and be a right now contributor off the bench, but they could draft a guy in the, let's say, 5th round, 4th round that they feel they can develop without having to put any pressure on that player right now. Or maybe they like Sebastian Castro. Maybe they look at Sebastian Castro and say, that's a guy that can develop, but he's not there yet. And we are a team that wants to be a contender. So we have to make moves like we're a contender, not make moves like we're developing guys quickly.
Do you and this, I'm asking for your assessment more
Yeah.
so than what you think the Steelers are thinking, because it's probably too difficult at this point. But do you view Sebastian Castro as someone who has more to his game to unlock? I love Sebastian Castro as like a special teams guy, as like the next Miles Killebrew, for example. But if you tell me he's going to be a starter alongside Deshaun Elliott, I'll probably shake my head.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think I think he has the potential to be a safety 3. Like, I don't think his max is a special teamer. At least, you could say that about everybody. Sure. You could say Will Howard's max is not a QB2, but there's a chance that Will Howard spends his whole career being QB2 because that's all he's able to get to. I think Sebastian Castro is a guy that could be more than what he is. But truthfully, like, I think he maxes out at a safety 3, which again is why I think they draft somebody, but I don't think they draft somebody super high. But I mean, as a whole, Darnell's a guy that comes in here. I think he's got over 80 starts in his NFL career. Like, it's not the worst move in the world. It's no Jaquan Brisker, which I'll ask the question. This is the end of that conversation, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I think maybe, listen, I think I was one of the people who was very adamant that they should be spending money at the safety position. So yeah, I think it does effectively roll out a player like Jaquan Brisker.
Turn your mic closer to you and up more. We got audio issues.
Oh no.
It happens when it's like pointed too high in the room. We're working on it. We're getting there slowly but surely. Everybody's just saying, just talk louder. That would be.
I could try.
Just yell.
We'll see if that's better. What were we talking about?
Jaquan Brisker not being an option.
I mean, he's not an option anymore for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe he was. But I mean, no, I just can't imagine that he is, because they don't want to spend that much money on a safety position at a premium position like that. So I think you're gonna inevitably have to worry about, are you getting enough out of this position because of it? But I mean, yeah, there's not going to be another big signing here like Jaquan Brisker. Sorry to burst your bubble.
No, I agree with that. I don't think there's any chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to go after a safety. They're going to look at this and say, we have our guy, we have our backup. From there, we'll kind of see what happens, but that's about it.
We'll see how this works.
Yeah, give us a little test 1 2. See if
does this work any better for anybody?
We feeling good about this?
Doing anything?
Toss Evans in the chat if Jacob's audio is sounding better.
We'll check it out. We'll change it out more as it goes, but we'll see.
Let's talk Aaron Rodgers.
If we have to.
Because he's still not coming. Steelers haven't heard from him. They don't know what's going on here. And it's not time to talk about a backup plan, because truthfully, the Steelers are going to let this thing drag out. Nothing's going to change. But it is definitely time to have the conversations of what that could look like, because if they're going to drag it out and people are going to get pissed and this is going to turn into a super annoying situation, then they're saying it got worse. I
don't know how to fix it.
I don't either. If that's going to be the situation, then what happens if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back? Where do the Steelers go if that's the case?
This is why I think, we're looking at a situation where it's genuinely like Will Howard is the next option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't think there's anything left for them to possibly do. I agree with you in the sense that I'm pretty sure the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to wait as long as possible for Aaron Rodgers.
Can't hear you. We're going to take a 1-minute break, fix this, and then we'll come back.
Cool.
What's up, AST Nation? I wanted to give a shout out to J-Piece Recruiting, a Western Pennsylvania-based recruiting firm working with manufacturing companies throughout the Pittsburgh region with a heavy focus in the machining industry. Started and run by someone with 25 plus years of experience in the industry, J-Piece Recruiting helps those who need real recruiting help but can't justify $10,000 to $20,000 per hire. Built for small and mid-sized shops, J-Piece Recruiting offers an affordable flat monthly rate model, unlimited hires, and no per hire or placement fees. They also offer a local job board dedicated exclusively to manufacturing jobs in the region at pittsburghmanufacturingjobs.com. Check them out at jpeacerecruiting.com or by calling 1-844-952-5969. J Peace Recruiting, machining industry recruitment done right. We're back. Toss the sevens in the chat.
Hopefully you can hear. Are both of our mics plugged into?
Both. Everything's looking good. Everything on our end says it should be working.
Anything from this side?
We feeling better about the audio? Let us know. Hit us in here. The people who are listening to this, who aren't watching the video, you're gonna hate this. 7s, 8, 9, even worse. We're getting. What are we doing here? We need actual answers. You can't be messing around here. All right, all good.
I'm not. I don't know.
All right. We're back. We're good.
Gotta learn how to do audio better.
I guess. All right, let's talk. Let's talk some Aaron Rodgers. I know nobody wants to talk Aaron Rodgers. It's saying it's not good. Yeah, like what are we doing? This is awesome. This is awesome. We're really going to spend half the show doing this, huh? The mic is. I'm done messing with the chat. You can either hear us or you can't.
Yeah, I think we just gotta.
All right, let's talk Aaron Rodgers here. Okay. Still not coming back. Spoke to as many people as I could today. Nothing. No new news from him. You got to talk backup plan at some point because, again, if people are going to be frustrated about this whole situation, then they have to be frustrated and understand what's coming next. What's coming next is most likely Will Howard because that's where the Steelers' focus is. That is, I mean, I asked people today, what happens if Aaron doesn't show up? And it was Will Howard. We're ready for Will Howard. All right, cool, great. But it'll be Will Howard and somebody. Do you anticipate I don't want to say exciting name, but a younger name? Or do you think this is Will Howard and Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins, and that's where they're headed?
I think it might be even worse than that. I think it's Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and some random late round pick that they add in the draft. Like there's not, if they had all of their eggs in the basket of Aaron Rodgers, which they clearly do and clearly have, why on earth, would they be so eager to move on to another candidate? Like, I think it is Aaron Rodgers, or they go into the year with the two quarterbacks that they have under contract plus some random addition. It's not going to be anyone of high caliber. It's not going to be anybody who's going to actually challenge for the starting job, but that's what it's going to be. And I think that is because the Steelers understand it's going to be a complete stopgap year. So why go after anyone else younger? So I would imagine Will Howard for sure, but Mason Rudolph, the forgotten quarterback, is going to be probably a bigger part of this.
I'll push back on you and say that I don't think that's going to be the case because I don't think anybody in that building trusts Mason Rudolph to be a backup quarterback or to be a guy who could be a number two. I don't think that the plan would be Mason is number two when somehow Mason got jumped in all of this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Mason was the number two all of last year under Mike Tomlin. And then McCarthy comes in here and Mason's suddenly the number three. Will Howard's never played a snap. Mason Rudolph's got starting experience. Mason Rudolph would have been the guy last year if Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be here. Mm-hmm. And then now Mason Rudolph's like, yeah, he's here. Kind of, I guess. Like we got no reason to get rid of him. He's cost $1 million, whatever. I don't know who it's going to be, but I mean, do you think that the Steelers would? I think that's what it comes down to is this. It's not, oh, the Steelers are out of options. Woe is me. It is the Steelers mindset. I think that's how you, like, at least for me, that's how I dictate like what the real likely possibilities are. And like, to me, it's if Will Howard stinks, who's going to win us a Super Bowl, and in their delusional minds, it will be a Joe Flacco. But you hear what I'm saying? Like,
I do. I like, it feels like this conversation that I'll have sometimes like with my nephews who are children, where you're like, there's no point in even like asking them to explain the logic. You're like, no, I get it. No, I understand. Like this, we're on planet Zibzorp, and this is just what we're doing today. Like I get it. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to ask if you think that's the best use of our time, but it's clearly not even material to what's going on. I understand the logic from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that is just such a ridiculous statement as an organization to utter. Well, if Will Howard can't get it done, maybe who are we going to turn to next? What? If this is not a scenario where there is a starting quarterback on this team if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign. There's probably not even a starting quarterback on this team if he does. And so to tell me that you take out the player who has the most career starts out of those three options, and then Will Howard becomes the guy that has legitimate expectations, that's why it's not real. And it's not because I hate Will Howard. It's because Will Howard has played 0 snaps at the NFL level.
True. You're not wrong.
So Joe Flacco, statistically and based off of historical evidence, has a better chance, albeit 1%, of winning a playoff game more compared to Will Howard, simply because there is NFL evidence to generate an opinion based off of. Everything else is purely speculation about a rookie who has literally never played in the NFL.
I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I think on the outside to judge it it's super fair. It's super fair. It's super, because like, they're not going to be like, what could the expectations be if your quarterback room is Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Joe Flacco? You know what I mean? Like, they're not. It's not high. It's not. But their minds, they'll say, well, it could get done, and it won't. You know, Joe Flacco seems to deteriorate year by year. I said that yesterday. It's like,
he's 40 years old.
Yeah,
like,
I get it. I hear it. I hear it. I hear it. I hear it. I don't know. That's in my head. I picture it, and I picture the words of McCarthy sitting there talking to us before the draft, saying, "Yeah, we think that this group could get the job done, and we have a lot of confidence in Joe if need be, but we are very excited about Will Howard." And all of us as reporters having to sit there with straight faces and just go, "All right, no, be unbiased." You know what I'm saying? Just be unbiased. You can't be an aggravated bone in your body. That's not allowed to happen. It doesn't. I know. I hear it. But that's, again, I'm going to ask, that's what it's going to end up being, right? And if it's not that, it's a variation of that.
Yeah, if it's not Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be Joe Flacco. And if it's not Joe Flacco, it's going to be someone like Jimmy Garoppolo. And if it's not Jimmy Garoppolo, it's going to be Cooper Rush. And if it's not Cooper Rush, it's going to be Tony Romo. And if it's not Tony Romo, it's going to be Terry Bradshaw. And then they'll just pair any other veteran they can, because, of course, that is how this team wins, apparently. And we have to just treat it like it's real.
We do.
It's not real. That's not real.
It's not real. It's gonna end up being real. I think the crazy part is, so can I toss this out at you? And I'll toss this out at every Steelers fan as well. I've been thinking about this. Like, I had a conversation with somebody, and they presented me with the idea. I don't want to take this as an original idea. They presented me with the idea of, isn't this exactly what we've all been asking for?
In what sense?
In the sense of, you just got to throw it against the wall and say, this is really bad, but good. You need one of those really bad situations.
Oh, I mean, listen, I want this team to go 4-13 in a perfect world, because it guarantees them a top pick in 2027.
Yeah.
Like, just because there's nothing about this team that suggests to me that they can still win a Super Bowl or could challenge for one. And that's not dismissing the moves they've made. Love the upgrade so far.
Yes.
I'm very excited about the draft, but I am certainly a believer in this franchise needing to be truly rebuilt, not just patchworked and retold on the fly. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with this team throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if it sticks. It's just don't feed me scraps and tell me it's a Michelin star meal. Like, I know what I'm getting.
What would you, again, just to talk Steelers, because I don't have that same, you know what I mean? Like I'll judge the hell out of these guys. I do it constantly, you know? but it doesn't come from a Steelers fan perspective because I credit myself on being a very unbiased human being when it comes to this team. Would you rather them be honest? Like legitimately, would you rather them be honest? You'd rather them be like,
always,
we're gonna suck, and that's gonna be the case.
Yes.
Okay.
Why would I'm not a child. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need wool pulled over my eyes to understand something and accept it.
Are you still turning the game on Sunday?
Yeah.
If they say that?
Me personally, of course I am. I grew up in Pittsburgh.
All
I
right.
watched Pittsburgh games since before I could really even like recall memories. So yeah, I'm going to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care. I'm watching the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have interest in them because I have a passion for them that goes back for my entire life, not because they are good at football. If I'm only a fan because they're good at football, I stop being a fan a while. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not what's happening. So I don't give a single shit, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I would much prefer, and this is, Eric DeCosta is going to talk today about what happened in Baltimore. He's going to lie. I would much rather him just tell the truth about what happened if I'm a Baltimore fan. But he's not going to tell you.
Well, he could care less what Baltimore fans think. He cares about what the rest of the NFL thinks.
Exactly.
In that
but he's not going to tell the truth. I would much rather tell the truth. In that situation, I would much rather an organization be honest about where they're at.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't be hopeful. It doesn't mean Art Rooney has to be like, it doesn't mean he has to be quiet for the rest of his life. He can still be like, you know what? My goal is to bring winning football and preserve the Rooney legacy. Sure. But don't lie to me about what this is. Don't lie to me and say this quarterback room can win a playoff game.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. In their perspective, in the business side of the NFL perspective, which is how they operate, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is if Art Rooney came on the screen and said, look at guys, Will's our quarterback. We're not feeling great about this one. Everyone leaves. Every player leaves. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Everybody wants to leave. So they got to lie. I understand it. I was genuinely curious what people would feel in that situation because the Steelers have never been in that situation. And as crazy as it sounds that they have stunk or that they have lost, 7 playoff games in a row and haven't won a playoff game in 10 years, they could genuinely go into every season saying, we got a shot. It's because like, yeah, you do. You really do. Like you show up and you're going to get your butt kicked, but you got it. You're giving yourself a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's ever experienced that in the last 20 years. So because of that, it's like, just genuinely curious.
No, and listen, I don't want to get too bogged down in this. And I also don't even know if people can hear what I'm saying.
They could. You got to speak up a little bit, but they could.
That's just tough for me. We'll work on it. Listen, I don't have a problem with this.
I gotta whisper. I'm a big whisperer.
I'm a big ASMR guy. I understand. Maybe people disagree with this.
Yeah.
I don't think it is just me presenting a bias to have this analysis of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Like, I'm not like, and you can disagree, and that's fine. That's why we all have opinions, But like, yeah. I don't think I'm just begrudgingly or with a vengeance trying to just be like, this team's bad, and I want to prove my point.
Yeah, no. I don't take it as that.
I just take it as this is what I see. This is what we cover. So, and this is the conclusion I've drawn about this team. It's not like I need this to fit my narrative.
Yeah.
I'll say whatever the conclusions I draw. Because I'm trying to like push something about the Steelers. Like, again, I grew up watching this team.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of this team for my 30 years of life. I would love nothing more than to come on here every day and talk about every great thing and only great things that the Pittsburgh Steelers do. Give us that and we will talk about it.
I agree. No. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. You and everybody in the chat right now is in total unity of like games going on Sunday, which I agree with. I agree with. What do you think? There's been a time where, what do you think? What life was like covering the Steelers in like 2010 when they were No, that was Ben got suspended that year for the motorcycle or something. 2012. When was the Super Bowl? 2012? 2012.
When they lost?
Yeah.
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 What do you think life was like?
Um,
Beautiful?
no. I bet it was troublesome in all kinds of ways that aren't now's troublesome ways, but like,
Yeah.
this is just what we have to deal with. This is I'm not, I bet it was fun because
Oh,
you probably had
blast.
less,
James Harrison was probably terrifying.
yeah, you probably just had more personable access to these players in a
Yeah,
way that like
for
social
sure.
media eliminates.
For sure.
And that's the disappointing part for sure. I would love to have been like a beat reporter in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, where there was just like 3 guys in notepads. Everyone's got a cigarette burning in their ear while they're writing stuff down.
That's like, the dream right there, is to go sit at a diner, dude, have a coffee and a smoke and write your story at 1 a.m. Friggin' Betty comes up with your slice of apple pie. That's the dream.
It's the dream.
That's the dream right there. For sure. For sure. For sure. I love it. I love it. All right. We overspoke on Aaron Rodgers, but I do want to get into it. Steelers been quiet. Darnell Savage happens last night. Brock Hoffman happens last night, but then it doesn't happen last night. Who's the next move for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Not who you want, who you think.
I think the next move is some sort of interior offensive lineman. This is not, I just think they're going to add somebody. I don't anticipate it being, maybe Wyatt Teller is the very top of the list, the very best possible option that they could get.
Yeah.
I think it could be somebody a lot more disappointing. I brought up a name today in an article I wrote, Chris Paul, not the point guard, but I brought up the Washington Commanders offensive lineman who is really bad at run blocking, but he's had a really good pass blocking grade throughout his 4 seasons in the NFL. So you look at it and you go, maybe they're going to see this and think we can work with him.
Yeah.
James Campen can take this clay and mold it into something great. And we all laugh. And then we look at it and we go, okay. But I think it's going to be an interior offensive line addition. They just need depth there, period. Even if it's just a guy for competition alongside Spencer Anderson.
Yeah, I agree. I think they tried to get Hoffman last night. My expectation or my understanding of the situation is that they were in negotiations. The negotiations were going well. I'm not going to say who reported it, but the report comes out that they signed way too early, and then things, I think, slowed down. I don't think it's came to a stop. I still don't think it's come to a stop. I just think that the Steelers and Hoffman are not there, and maybe they won't ever get there, but I think it shows that the Steelers wanted to get there. And that's the craziest part, is like that. I think that what they did is show their hand, is like they're looking at a Nate Herbig level player, a guy who could come in here and be a starter, or come in here and be a very reliable across the interior backup, which I'm all for both. I looked at Hoffman and said, if you come in here to be the next Ryan McCollum, fantastic. If you come in here to be the next Nate Herbig, fantastic. If you're coming in here to compete for a starting job, fantastic. You're 26 years old. You got 14 starts in the last 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Hoffman. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody else, but I think it's going to be a veteran, second, maybe third tier guy that you're not thinking of, depending on how you put your tiers. You're not a bench player, but you're not somebody who's super high on everybody's lists. I think that's the next move for sure.
Yeah.
When's the next exciting move in your eyes?
The NFL draft.
Really?
Yeah, dude, we're done. We're done with, unless you consider Aaron Rodgers a really big move.
Yeah.
But that's probably,
I mean,
I don't.
Ends a lot of conversations.
Yes, it also starts
one
season's worth.
One giant one. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So outside of Aaron Rodgers, which I think happens between now and the draft, most likely.
Yeah.
I think the next big move is whatever happens in the first round of the draft for the Steelers, if there's a trade or something like that. But yeah, I think the fireworks in Pittsburgh have mostly subsided. What says you, Noah?
Yes. I want to say yes. Okay, so I think the Steelers are negotiating with one, and I don't want to say names because I'm guessing on who it is, but I think the Steelers are negotiating with one more kind of big player, and they're not going to try to spend huge on them. I think they're looking at it going, maybe we can make this signing for a reasonable price tag, and we're going to. And again, I don't know who it is, but I think people could speculate like Rasheed Walker. I'm looking at the board over there. Jaquan Brisker still out there. Maybe as boring as it is, a Jalen Daniels. Or James Daniels, excuse me. But I think that whoever it is, I think the Steelers are having negotiations saying second wave is upon us. Those guys are cheaper. How do we make a move? And again, I don't think it's going to be expensive, but I got a gut feeling that one more weird one's coming. And it's going to happen at it's like Isaac Seumalo, dude. That's how I view it. In my head, that's what it's going to come at midnight. It's going to be a guy that you're like, what just happened to me? And then we're going to be writing it while I'm drinking wine and watching a movie with my wife on a Friday afternoon. Shout out to Omar Khan for that one. That's my, again, gut feeling. But I think that one more, they did it for Miles Jack too. Miles Jack was like 4 or 5 days later. And you're like, whoa, look at that bad boy. Crazy. And that's, yeah. I was like, oh, good. So to me, that's going to be, and again, it could be like last year was Mason Rudolph. So I was like, oh, exciting, but still oh, okay. That's notable type answer, and then there'll be the boring stuff. Connor Heyward will come back. You'll get a defensive tackle of some sort. Javon Hargrave's also a name that I think if Javon Hargrave is super cheap and not getting a market anywhere, the Steelers call him and just say, hey, buddy, you want to come home?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Why not? I don't have no issue with that. I don't think that's a problem at all. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, genuinely.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, just a gut feeling. But we'll see what happens. All right. I know we already took a break. We're going to take another break, double check these audios as we go on. Appreciate you guys chucking with us in this one. On the other side of it, we'll start answering your questions. We'll be back in 60 seconds. What's up, AST Nation? I wanted to give a shout out to J Peace Recruiting, a Western Pennsylvania-based recruiting firm working with manufacturing companies throughout the Pittsburgh region with a heavy focus in the machining industry. Started and run by someone with 25 plus years of experience in the industry, J Peace Recruiting helps those who need real recruiting help but can't justify $10,000 to $20,000 per hire. Built for small and mid-sized shops, J Peace Recruiting offers an affordable flat monthly rate model, unlimited hires, and no per hire or placement fees. They also offer a local job board dedicated exclusively to manufacturing jobs in the region at pittsburghmanufacturingjobs.com. Check them out at jpeacerecruiting.com or by calling 1-844-952-5969. J Peace Recruiting, machining industry recruitment done right. Shout out to whoever just tossed in the chat, Kyler to Pittsburgh. You know how to get a guy fired up. You know how to get a guy smiling on this break. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our subscribers. If you got questions, toss them in the chat before we get going here. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're almost at 70,000 subscribers.
Holy Lord.
That's actually crazy, guys. Thank you so much. It's only been a month since we hit 60,000. So to go up almost another 10 in a month is pretty sick. So appreciate you guys for sure. Let's get to 75 well before the draft. That way we could give something cool away for sure. Let's kick it off with Max, excuse me. For the love of God, Puntori, speak into the mic. We need a yell. We need a little.
I don't, dude. You know what? This is what pisses me off about these microphones.
That was like somebody who just spoke for the first time in like 8 years, just came out of a coma, and they're.
You know, this is what pisses me off about these microphones is that they
make you talk.
No, it's because in 9 out of 10 situations, they could pick me up whispering from 12 feet away. Right? Like how many podcasts have we done
for sure.
Where there's a train going behind Noah, we're moving as we do it. You know what I mean? No problems. I'm sitting 3 inches from this microphone and I need to go 1.5 just for you to hear me. I'm fired up about this today.
You're gonna go home to your wife and you'll be like, Hey, Tor, how's it going? It'd be 2 feet from her. Like, sorry, just it's like I was hanging out in my great Italian grandmother's kitchen or something. You know what I mean? Everybody's just shouting. Rival. The rumor is Pitt wants to see where Kyler goes before calling AR8. I don't know who dropped that rumor, but if it's true, I'm on board. Dude, give me Kyler Murray all day. It's ridiculous that that the Steelers are doing this, personally, just to me, because he makes way too much freaking sense. And I get it. Nobody wants him except for Noah Strackbine, but I think it's blasphemous that we are out here talking about Joe Flacco and Kirk Cousins as backup plans with Will Howard. Like a quarterback competition between Will Howard, Kyler Murray, and Mason Rudolph would be awesome. It would be awesome. It'd be 100 times better than Joe Flacco, Will Howard, and Mason Rudolph. Yeah. Like, at least that one's got purpose. Like,
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen, but that would be so sick.
How bad of a quarterback competition would it have to be for you to not call it awesome? Like, I think you call Justin Fields versus Will Howard.
That would be awesome. That would be sick. That'd be a great competition, dude. It'd be a great competition. I could care less how good these guys are. I just want a good You want to know what was boring? Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. I was like, God, these guys, nobody's fun here. There's no cool storyline. There's nothing exciting. Mitch showed up in a visor, and I was immediately rooting for him. I was like, I hope his tiny baby hands aren't good enough tomorrow, and you win because you look awesome out there.
Mitch wore a visor?
Yeah, dude, it was so sick. So sick.
Was it like he was playing like he was like a poker dealer?
That's at that point. No. At that point, he was already the backup. Once he became the backup, he became Visor Mitch. And let me tell you, dude, that was awesome. That was awesome. I went up to him I was the only one, walked right up to him. I was like, hey, man, I have no questions. I just want to say that visor looked so awesome out there. I thought we were cordial ever since. And I spoke a lot of crap on that guy. So,
well, I doubt he saw that.
Joe Flacco, Will Howard, and I don't know, man. Nick Belsky used to give me in a lot of trouble with these clips that he'd be putting out. Shout out to the boy Nick Belsky.
Belsky's the man.
I think that a Joe Flacco, you know what? To be honest with you, I think it'd be awesome too, dude. The Joe Flacco resurgence one more time. You know, I'd find a way to talk it up.
Listen, we find the drama in it all. Right.
Yeah.
That's what, we the stories will come. That's not a problem. I just want these quarterbacks to be good.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen. There's like 8 good quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's true.
Unless you are the Chiefs, it's really just, what are you looking for? You know what I mean? Yeah.
You're right.
Minnesota sounds good. You know what's crazy is JJ McCarthy versus Kyler Murray is equally as disappointing of a quarterback competition as Will Howard versus Kyler Murray would be. That's how bad the quarterback situation in the NFL is.
For sure. No, that's definitely true in terms of just like the product you're going to get's bad.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. The Simp 88. My last Kyler mention. Love the new Cam contract. Look at brother. You can mention Kyler all day, every day on this show. We are a Kyler friendly show. Yeah. At least half of us.
Dude, I love babysitting Kyler Murray. He's so good. He's easy for bedtime.
Just plays video games.
And
passes right out, dude. Him and his friends. Love the new Cam contract. We did overlook the Cam contract yesterday. Fantastic move, I think. With $16.5 million this season, lowers his cap hit. How old is Cam going to play till?
I hope 40. Genuinely,
he'll be 39 next season.
Yeah, I mean, come on, defensive lineman playing 2 decades of football, basically, like that's unbelievable. We have Cam Heyward's had quite the sort of journey in the court of public opinion the past year and a half.
Yeah.
He's certainly taken his licks, but like, this is a guy who remains a premier player at the defensive line position, if not the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL. And he's pushing 40. I want to see this guy hit the 40 mark, still be taking down quarterbacks and eating tackles. Like,
me too.
This guy, it's awesome to see.
I agree. You want to know what I love about it is that I don't think he's a Hall of Famer yet in the public's eye, and he is a Hall of Famer. And I hope in these next 2 years, the rest of the NFL notices.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I agree. Keeping it trucking here. Chris, I hope we make a push to sign Walker. We need him. I agree. Rasheed Walker, if you get Rasheed Walker, Aaron Rodgers could be your quarterback. I don't care. You've situated your football team in a way that protects them for the future and for right now, and that is a massive win. Massive win. If your starting 5 offensive linemen for your next quarterback is, and that's how I'm viewing all this stuff, is like setting yourself up for the next quarter. If your offensive line, Zach Frazier, Troy Fautanu, Rasheed Walker, Mason McCormick, even if it's Spencer Anderson, that's fantastic. That is, you just said, hey, here are 5 guys. All of these 5 guys, Mike Tomlin used to say it all the time. He'd say, when I would talk to Frazier and McCormick and Fautanu for the first times, I would smile at them when they were together. And when they would ask why, I'd say, because I watched this with Marquise and Roman and Villanueva, and he sees that these guys are going to be in each other's wedding and so on and so forth. If you have that group of guys, and then behind him is a quarterback who's developing with them, I mean, that's how you win. Frankly, that's how you win Super Bowls.
Correct.
That's how you do it right in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's why I stress the importance of building from the inside out for a Super Bowl team, and that it's offensive line on one side, and they've done a great job about we have talked a lot about this team needing to upgrade the left side of the offensive line, but what I don't want to come out of that as a secondary point is the belief that the right side is lacking. Like, this is a premier right side of the offensive line.
Fantastic.
From Zach Frazier over. You got to figure out left guard and left tackle. You do that, this team is going to be a legitimate threat just because they're harder to beat at the line of scrimmage. I'd love to see Rasheed Walker. I frankly am stunned that he has not signed a deal at this point, because what else are you looking for besides a 26-year-old guy who can do everything at the position?
Do you think that it's because his price tag is too high, or that his market isn't as strong as we think it's going to be?
I think Tyler Lindenbaum is like
a peripheral. Screw that guy. You know what I mean? Shout out, but screw that guy.
Yeah, like the dude was 3 years, 81 million or something.
Yeah, 27 million a year.
Unbelievable money. I think it's hard whenever he's probably, Creed Humphrey, Zach Frazier. There's probably another handful of guys you can consider in that elite center tier. Then you start comparing it to the best left tackles at that, that age, and you're like, wow, how do I Tyler Lindenbaum is the best center. Maybe Rasheed Walker is a top 10 tackle, top 5 tackle, but do I want to pay him like the best center in the game?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of these comparisons that are happening. And I think it's been to the detriment of Rasheed Walker because he didn't get a deal done on day 1 of tampering.
I think that might be a conspiracy theory I could fall behind. A theory I could fall behind. I don't think it's conspiracy. I think a theory I could fall behind. We'll see what happens, dude. I'm interested to see. That's going to be the guy this offseason where, like, to me, it's like Jaquan Brisker is going to sign somewhere for like cheap money, and people are going to be like, I can't believe the Steelers didn't get that guy. If Rasheed Walker signs for $18 million a year, that's the guy that you should all be going. You just didn't even want to try. Like, you didn't even want to give him an effort there. You didn't want to toss it out. To me, I agree.
Because even by the stingiest of sort of like analysis of where the Steelers salary cap situation is, they still have $15 to $20 million to play with.
Yeah. I think more than that.
That's
with
like
Cam,
the lowest projections right now. They're probably at like 15 million.
Yeah.
Put in the Cam thing, put in the other
Jameel Dean not being anywhere close to what his split is.
Exactly.
I would imagine they're going to the rework with Michael Pittman's is the same way on top of, Rico Dowdles is probably nothing. Yeah. It's $6.5 million a year. I guarantee you $4 million of that is a signing bonus, 100%. And it's only a $2 million cap hit, guaranteed. Yeah, for sure. Flip Floppers Anonymous becoming the next YouTube member. My guy, appreciate you. Fantastic name. Love the show. I would prefer we draft a quarterback in the middle rounds to compete against Will Howard to start the season. Worst case scenario, top 10 pick. You're not wrong at all. There is a part in the back of my head that I don't want to say out loud, because like, it's like if you have like a gut feeling something bad's going to happen and you're like, oh, don't speak it into existence.
Right.
I've felt this since the combine. When just talking to Mike McCarthy, he casually dropped the name Carson Beck And I was like, you're gonna do it, aren't you? You're gonna draft one of them. And there is a sneaky suspicion in the back of my head the whole time that Will Howard, Drew Aller, Carson Beck, one of the two, and probably Aaron Rodgers is the Steelers quarterback room in 2026.
You know, it was so strange in Indianapolis because like Drew Aller made sense as a meeting. Ty Simpson made a ton of sense as a meeting. And then it was like Carson Beck is also one of those formal meetings. And I get it, played the national championship. I know I've like ragged on this guy a lot, but like I understand like the general allure of him.
Yes.
I found it stunning that he was one of the like formal meetings that the Pittsburgh Steelers had because one, I don't consider him to be a third, fourth round guy. And two, I wouldn't want to fill out my quarterback room with like Will Howard and Aaron Rodgers. You tell me it's Drew Aller. You tell me it's Taylon Green. You tell me it's Jack Strand. You tell me it's Cole Payton. Like there's a lot of guys that I would be like, all right, you took a risk on a guy that has a lot of traits that are maybe raw but feel developmental.
Yep.
I just don't feel that way about Carson Beck. So it was surprising how much interest Mike McCarthy and the Pittsburgh Steelers have taken in the University of Miami product.
They seem like they have a type that they're going for.
Yeah, right,
a guy who like has the physical build and maybe the mechanics, but just like isn't exciting, you know?
Yeah.
Like Drew Aller and Carson Beck a year ago, first round prospects.
Mm-hmm.
And today they're not, but that's because they were first round prospects because they look like first round. They walk into the room and you go, a guy looks like a first round prospect, you know? And to me, that's what Will Howard walks into the room and you go, that looks like a first round prospect. And that's the mold that Mike McCarthy doesn't want to have to develop you into a quarterback talent. Mike McCarthy wants a quarterback that he has to develop into a quarterback. Mm-hmm. That's what he wants. And they kind of fit that mold. They do. And I could see it happening and it would stink. And just
not a fan.
Yeah. I agree. Keeping it trucking here. Chris, how would you guys feel about signing Walker at left tackle and drafting Penn State guard Ione in the first round? These moves immediately solidify the offensive line. I don't think it's on the Steelers' mind to draft Ione. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think that's a fantastic move.
Yeah, and I think I don't recall the specifics of this, and someone in the chat or you, please correct me if I'm wrong. I imagine David DeCastro was like a guy that they were really interested in, but I don't know if he was their top target. But when he fell that far, they like, how do you skip a player like that? And I think that's sort of the conclusion I've reached on Vega Ione out of Penn State is that I don't think he's a top choice. I don't think he is the player that the Steelers have circled on their big board, but I do think he is such an impressive player that if he winds up falling down the draft board at 21, you might have to abandon your plans and take this guy because he's going to be a 5 to 10 year starter at the left guard position or at the right guard, wherever you put him in the interior offensive line. The Steelers need another starter there. Yep. You know, it's tough. You know, there's probably a lot of other positions you could argue for them to take at 21, but I do think Ione is, that talented and projects to be that much better at the NFL level.
Okay, so I'm pronouncing his name wrong, or we are pronouncing his name wrong, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce it correctly because that just ain't happening, guys. That just ain't happening. Appreciate you. I want to give a massive shout out here, massive, to our boy, Artisanal Bully Kennel. Can you bless us with a shout out? As we welcome the newest member of Steelers Nation and future Steeler, Bo, born 3-5. My dudes, congratulations to both of you. That's incredible. Wish you guys nothing but health and happiness moving forward. Shout out to Bo. Give him a little Steelers jersey, you know what I'm saying?
Bo,
a little Steelers jersey. I was asked earlier today on the call-in show, what would be the most embarrassing place to carry a terrible towel? Like if you had to carry one at all times. And I was like, I think I just started naming cool places because I don't think anywhere is embarrassing.
No.
I said the facility. I was like, yeah, you go to practice with terrible towel, you look like a weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
But for you, I said oh, the birth of the child would be sick. Just in there, just woo, let's go. Let's go.
Got this baby.
Yeah, just
Mama.
yeah, it's just Renegade just playing in the background. That would be so sick.
That would be sick.
That'd be so. You guys should have done that at least once. Just a little Renegade on the belly. You know what I mean? Just so that they know they're just born a Styx fan.
He knows the jig is up.
Yeah, I love it, dude.
That's
I love
fantastic.
it. Shout out, congratulations. That's awesome. That is awesome. Cody Silva, Omar Khan back in the castle with the Adams family. What? I don't even know what that means. Do you know what that means? I don't know. I don't know at all, dude. Shout out my guy. Slaps, dude. Just watched that movie for the first time this past year.
The 90s one?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Chris, no, I still think Daniel Jones could be an option. Daniel Jones just signed today, my friend. 2 years, $88 million. Wild amount of money. Shout out to Daniel Jones, who sneakily has already made over $100 million in his career.
Wait a second. The Colts did not back out of this deal, even though they know the physical situation of
as of 4 p.m. I know.
What?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Shout out, dude. Shout out. See what happens when you aren't lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just tell the truth. It's crazy how that works.
That's crazy.
It's crazy how that works.
Man, I hope he's back in time.
You got a thing there. Could you do the Ravens play the Raiders this year?
Oh man, we gotta know.
I hope so. I think that's slides.
Oh,
See, we're learning technology. We're learning everything about this new podcast setup. Shout out my guys. I think if they play, Uncle Fester with the Adams. Oh my Cody, brother. I'm gonna see this man tomorrow. What are we doing to me? What are we doing to me? Oh my gosh.
2027.
They don't play till 2027. That's disappointing. I hope they meet in the playoffs somewhere because Max Crosby will have 11 sacks. It'd be awesome. Be so awesome to watch.
How can you do that though when he's a Pittsburgh Steeler?
He might be. You
never know.
Shout out to Josina Anderson, dude, just stirring my pot a little bit, just being like, no, called the Steelers, see if they were interested. I was like, Josina, you taking one for the team. No chance I'd be reaching out like, hey, you want Max Crosby? Like, I know you got like 11 of them, but would you consider giving up 2 first-round picks for a fifth? Does that sound like fun time to you? Sounds like a great time to me. Josina did the dirty work. Appreciated as always. Shout out to Robert here. I don't trust Aaron to stay healthy all season, so we're definitely going to see Will Howard in the regular season for 2 to 3 games. Okay, good question off this one. Do you think 2 to 3 games or a small stretch in the regular season will be enough for the Pittsburgh Steelers? In the Pittsburgh Steelers mindset, okay, which is always difficult to get into because it's sometimes really, really outrageous. In the Steelers mindset, do you think a sample size of 2 to 3 games would be enough for them to make a decision on if Will's the guy in 27?
Absolutely. 100%.
100%.
Again,
That's
this is
brutal.
a team that it desperately tries to shoehorn their beliefs into, or shoehorn their delusions into this sort of optimistic train that there's not enough room for. I just do not think that this team, or Rooney specifically, would pass at the chance to make an official evaluation and statement on Will Howard moving forward. If he gets 2 to 3 games, they know.
That's
they either,
disgusting.
and it could go the other way though, Noah. It could go. They might give him 2 to 3 games, and they're like, okay, you know what? It doesn't work.
Yeah, not good.
What we thought we saw is maybe not there. But yeah, I think Mike McCarthy probably only needs a little bit to gauge. Art Rooney, he needs about 1 snap, because he wants to declare this guy the king.
Do you think Art Rooney does?
I think he wants so desperately to name a franchise quarterback that can get him a playoff win that he would do it for anybody.
Okay.
And that's like stretching this belief.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. That does make it's just terrible, but it makes a lot of sense. Correct. I agree. The Simp 88. I agree on the Beck talk, but I also am going to trust McCarthy to make the best decision. We have to ? I love the decision so far. We are better. I do agree the Steelers are significantly better than where they started. I also agree that you have to trust Mike McCarthy. What I don't agree with is having to trust his words. That's what I don't agree with. Is I trust McCarthy to I think McCarthy's a good head coach. Is he the coach I would have picked? No, but the argument against him is impossible to make when you say things like, well, he's a bad head coach. What about him being a head coach tells you he's a bad head coach? Nothing. He's just not exciting or what the Steelers probably needed. However, you got to trust him to say like, hey, this guy has upside. What you don't have to trust is that he is fully engaged and says that is my best and only option. You know what I mean? He could look at Will Howard, he could look at Carson Beck, he could look at Drew Aller and say this guy's got upside for sure. But in the back of his head, he could also be going, Arch Manning's got way more upside. Like Lenora Sellers got way more upside, and I'm gonna work with them if given the opportunity. So yeah, I trust in Mike McCarthy to see it, but I also trust that Mike McCarthy knows better.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely respect your opinion here, and I'm not trying to argue against it in my response. I think it's more than fine to not trust
Hargrave to the Packers. Sons of bitches.
I also saw Dylan Parham sign with, or Parham, I don't know how you pronounce it, sign with the Jets too. So there's another guard position off the option off the board. I think it is totally fair to not 100% trust the coach. Like,
yes,
listen, this is all brand new. The one thing that I absolutely took away from Indianapolis, I know we talked about this, at the combine, but the reputation and stature of Mike McCarthy around the NFL is way better than the initial reaction to his hiring in Pittsburgh might indicate.
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
He is a better coach than I think a lot of people want to give him credit for in Pittsburgh, right? I think you can have a little bit of trust in his track record of working with so many NFL offenses and finding various degrees of success.
Yes.
I think it's also fair to be like, and I wrote about this, I talked about this in Puntori's playbook, to be a little bit reluctant to fully buy that he can take whoever they put in front of him and mold him into the player that the Steelers need him to be. I think, I want to be optimistic. I don't want to be, putting the cart before the horse and not giving him a chance, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is a totally fair perspective where you're not fully 100% on board or fully 100% trusting this new coaching staff yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think everybody should be skeptical. And at the end of the day, he doesn't have the greatest options to pick from, which is
correct. Yeah, that's not on him either. You can't blame him for that.
No, he doesn't get to make those calls, unfortunately. I hear you. I do hear what you're saying. Drink Keystone Light Steelers podcast, but can you give quick comment about the Ratbirds doing Ratbird things with their edge rushers stuff? Yeah, 100%. Super dirty. I was told that hypothetically speaking, DaCosta would be removed from group chats about within general managers, which do exist. There are general manager group chats, which is the craziest thing I ever learned as an NFL insider or reporter or whatever. My quick thoughts are, shout out to the Ravens for being absolute scumbags. My biggest issue with this is, if you just said, we don't want him anymore, we found a cheaper option that we think is just as good, who doesn't require 2 first-round picks, and you didn't fly him out to Baltimore and then fly him back to Baltimore and try to put the whole thing on Crosby and say, oh, he's got a bum knee. Yeah, no shit, pal. We all knew he had a bum knee. If you didn't do all that and you just said, don't want him anymore, I think the respect level would be still crazy, but way lower or way higher than what it is right now.
Listen, I think what the Ravens did is not right.
For sure.
Obviously, this is my bigger issue is that this is what the NFL's official rules have paved the way for. And this is what they're, we talk about this all week in terms of like how many like nudge, nudge, wink, wink deals there are, conversations,
Yes.
even though they're not supposed to happen.
Yes.
Like, and there's all this stuff so you can make a trade on Saturday, or you can make a handshake agreement on Saturday and break it before Wednesday.
Yep.
And you're not culpable for anything. That's absolutely terrible business practice. In any other business, you would just be blacklisted. Like, no one wants to do business with you anymore. I would not blame anybody for not wanting to do business with the Baltimore Ravens moving forward. I would be, if I was a free agent, I would have an innate distrust of management and what they're telling me.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, this is the crazy pandemonium that the NFL loves to market. They make all their billions of dollars around being able to do this and to advertise on these days.
Yeah, for sure.
So they love it.
They love it.
I think in the end, it makes the Ravens look terrible.
Yeah.
And I feel for a player, like, I genuinely feel bad for the Raiders, and I never feel bad for the Raiders because they were going to get a steal for Max Crosby.
Steal. I personally, you want to know who I feel best for right now? Max Crosby, because the Raiders look damn good right now. And he's going back on, you know what? This is a better team than I left 4 days ago. This looks awesome. And you want to know what the Ravens did during free agency? They got significantly worse. They've lost everybody, including Patrick Ricard, who's like their best offensive lineman. That's just wild. And he plays fullback. Like, yeah. But Trey Hendrickson was actually sold on the idea of coming to Baltimore to play with Max Crosby. Yeah, which is
if anyone follows me on Twitter, you saw my absolute real thoughts on that. Because I just cannot. There's times where people can't hide where they get their information from, even when they don't say it. And I think that was a very perfect example of where that information came from. Yeah. Because that's absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
No, I agree. It's hilarious when you could easily tell where the tweet came from, where the information came from. And I think in today's day and age where everybody is it's the insider group chat everybody jokes about, like, you got to come up with every small random story you can get this time of year. You're tossing out there, and sometimes it looks wild. Ginsburg Stillers start bench cut Jacob's favorites edition. Cordell Patterson, Jacob's furnace when broken, or his microphone today.
Dude, I'm cutting this microphone in half, and I'm cursing its entire bloodline. I would fix 1,000 broken furnaces before I fix this microphone situation. I'd start Cordero Patterson. I'm naming my son after him, so I might as well start him.
Cordero Romage. Tori, turn it off.
Yeah. Hey, Tori, no, you don't hear nothing. Cordero, Plexico, Puntori. Yeah, of course. I'm going to start his Godfather.
Yeah, facts. Big facts on that one. You gotta. John, when do you think the pre-draft visits will start to ramp up? I know they had Bell in on the 6th and Prysock in at some point. Feel like that will give a better idea of what they're looking for. Usually starts right now. They've been kind of slow with them. I'm in a group chat where we pick days to go and see who went and visited, because you have to actually go to the facility and ask, which is wild to me. And the past 2 days, there's been nobody. So they are full steam ahead into free agency. Once things slow down, I would imagine it changes. Maybe tomorrow, Friday, and then Monday, it starts to pick up. But usually it's happening during free agency. This year's a little bit different. If I had to guess, it's next week. That's my expectation here.
Love it.
Benny, the Vikings absolutely believed that if they signed Kyler Murray, may become a Super Bowl contender. So why not the Steelers? You are asking all the right questions, my friend.
I don't believe the Minnesota Vikings are Super Bowl contenders just by signing Kyler
Murray. No.
I think Kyler Murray and Kevin O'Connell make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because Kevin O'Connell likes his quarterbacks to be mobile. They do a lot of RPOs. Like that's what, if Kyler's going to excel, I probably want him in that type of offense. Whereas if we don't know what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do schematically, we can guess based off of Mike McCarthy's history, sort of where he might go. And Kyler Murray isn't the best fit for that type of West Coast system.
I agree.
And so then you get into this problem where, he might just be a little bit better in Minnesota because the offensive playbook just suits his talents more.
Yeah.
That all said, they are not Super Bowl contenders if they sign Kyler Murray. That's just not. They're Super Bowl contenders because they signed James Pierre.
That could be true. That could definitely be true. I look at they're into Kyler Murray because they know that their Super Bowl window is open, and they do not believe that JJ McCarthy is 100% going to be the guy that gets them there. Just like the Pittsburgh Steelers believe that their Super Bowl window is open, and they think that Aaron Rodgers could give them there, unless not. And to me, JJ McCarthy, Kyler Murray is the same equation as JJ McCarthy or as Will Howard, Kyler Murray, because realistically, nobody gets you to the Super Bowl, but the thought process is the same. We have a young guy, but we don't know if he's going to be the guy yet. And you got it. Like, you're just going to compete them both. So I look at Benny. You're spot on there, pal. You're spot on. Lance, Noah, do you think if PQ is to be moved, it happens by Friday because of the $2.5 million roster bonus due to him? I think that the likelihood of it happening by Friday is significantly higher. However, 2.5 million, even if they take on the rest of your contract, you still save $14.5 million. Mm-hmm. I think they'd still move him. But I think the first deadline is Friday for sure. I think if they're trying to move him, which I don't know if they're pushing to, but maybe the idea now that it's in their head and they realize he has a market could change that. I think Friday is the first deadline.
Yeah. But overall, I don't feel very, it doesn't feel like a concrete or like a line that you can't go back once you cross it. Like, just because he's owed that bonus, I don't think that is like the end all be all for trading Patrick Queen. I still think, and I said this yesterday, there's like a 30% chance that he just gets moved, period. Like and it's not by the end of the week and it changes. It's just between now and the 2026 season starting.
Yes. Duff, my thing with the Ratbirds, what if Vegas didn't have $1 billion in cap space and they made all those free agent signings, then all of a sudden had to fit Max Crosby's salary back in the mix? That's why it's super scummy by the Ravens, because they would have only had 12 hours or something to decide on that. And they could go back on all those signings, at the end of the day, and it could go both ways. If Linderbaum woke up at 3:59 p.m. today and said, I don't want to sign anymore, he could say that, and the Raiders could too, which tells you things like, if you're Trey Hendrickson going, I agree to this contract until you pull it under the rug from me in 4 hours. Like, it does not look good. It does not look good at all for the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to have to gain some trust back. And I don't know if Eric DeCosta is going to get it, because yikes. On top of firing John Harbaugh this offseason, who's been there forever, whose players are going to New York in waves, which tells you exactly how they feel about him. Baltimore's in trouble, guys, and that feels fan-freaking-tastic, man. Fan-freaking-tastic. Drink Keystone Light, Kenny Pickett, Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins, pick. Oh, Cam Newton all day.
You kidding me?
Today. Let's go today.
Cam Newton
all day.
Don't even care.
All day.
It's not even close.
All day. Give me Cam Newton forever, dude.
Dude.
Forever.
Give me anybody but Kirk Cole's Cousins.
Kirk Cole's Cousins. That's probably what his middle name is.
Yeah.
I'm shocked he hasn't bought a Coles yet. Like, he should be the endorsement. The Kirk's. Kirk's Coles.
Kirk's Coles.
Oh my gosh, dude. They should have a promotion. Kirk's Coles Cash. Like, what are we like? Do I have to do this for you guys? Come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? John, random, but do you think that they re-signed Donald Parham at tight end since he was lost so early last year due to injury? Never really got to see the two towers of him in Washington in the red zone. That is true, dude. That is true. Forgot about Donald Parham.
Know nothing about his recovery process. Didn't he have a knee injury?
He tore his ACL, but that was like day one of OTAs.
Right.
It's so early in the process. I totally forgot about that guy. So I expect Connor Heyward to come back. Mm-hmm. I could see him as a fourth, though.
Yeah, they need one more. They're going to go into training camp with at least 4 or 5 guys that they're trying to decide between. But agreed, I think Connor Heyward will return. It's probably part of the extension camps.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's also Cam's here, dude. Like, yeah, that's happening. That's happening. Lance, what about Taylor Decker? 32 years old, left tackle.
Sure.
I agree. I'm okay with a stopgap at left tackle, honestly. I'm not like super opposed to that idea.
I hate the idea genuinely, and my fear as we are, the league year has officially begun, my fear is that left guard gets addressed and left tackle is literally just a competition between Broderick Jones and Dylan Cook. And
yes,
that to me is a recipe for disaster because
Agreed.
Dylan Cook probably wins it, but that leaves the door open for one mistake to bring Broderick Jones back, and we're just playing this game another year.
Yep.
And I hate it.
It's just playing ping pong with two really bad paddles. And then a 42-year-old ball floating around out there. Maddie, round 1, pick 21. As of right now, who are the Steelers selecting? That's a Noah question, dude. Shout out to you, Maddie.
It's a great question. I'm going to take... Yesterday, it was still Denzel Boston. Today, my answer's changed.
Whoa.
Today, my answer is Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Back on my favorite guy.
I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, this is a tough question. I think McDonald could be a guy.
Yeah.
I think that's a good guess. I'm going to try to switch it up here. I'm going to go back to what I said at the NFL Combine. I think Omar Cooper Jr.
Could be. I mean, listen, we'd be happy with that trio,
For sure.
So, yeah.
For
fine
sure.
with me.
Dude, Frank calls Kurt. Frank tells Mike. Mike tells Omar. Omar tells Rooney. And if nobody screws up the name between then and then, Omar Cooper Jr.
Love that pick.
Connecting the dots. Pick. Lance, Sam Howell just signed with Dallas, so we can trade for Jacobs' boy, 6th rounder, Joe Milton. Does Sam Howell open the door, you think, maybe?
Dude, I hope. I don't imagine so, right? Like, I can't imagine that Sam Howell is viewed as a legitimate back. Is Cooper Rush still on the Cowboys?
No, that's who I was trying to think of yesterday when I was trying to think of the Baltimore Ravens backup quarterback from last year. Cooper Rush. Thank you. No, he's not there anymore. But Sam Howell signed like a backup worthy deal, I want to say. Like it was like money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That you're like, oh, it was like, I want to say like $7 million or something.
Whoa. So then he is going to be the backup.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett dollars over there.
Oh man.
Who also got $7.5 million. Shout out to Kenny Pickett.
What a hands on that much.
Dude, what being a first round pick in the NFL does is insane to me. Insane.
Being between the 33rd and 50th best quarterback in the world is the best.
There's no chance Kenny Pickett's top 50.
30th to 70th.
It might be 70.
The greatest job in the world.
Yeah.
You can make $7 million being genuinely bad at your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I can make being genuinely bad at my job?
Noah really pissed off.
Yeah. That's about it. So I can make a visit to unemployment. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't get that luxury, but baby hands Pickett does.
Dude,
great day.
Crazy.
I hope it makes Milton available.
Me too. I'd go after Milton.
I love this guy.
Replace Mason Rudolph for Milton. Trade him straight up. Who cares? And a 6th round pick. Mason Rudolph for Joe Milton and a 6th round pick. Or Mason Rudolph and a 6th round pick for Joe Milton. Boom.
If everyone just ignores that Mason Rudolph is still on the team and they just, you know what I mean? Like they go get Joe Milton, you get Will Howard back, you got Aaron Rodgers back, quarterback room. Mason shows up at training camp. You just go, what are you doing here? Like, no, I don't think anyone would even be, the NFL would not penalize the Steelers.
No, not even.
They would be like, no, you cut him. We remember.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
We were there.
We
don't
even
worry about it. Yeah, I agree.
Who cares?
I agree.
The forgotten man.
Yins or Jake, what nickname do you give Metcalf and Pittman? Also, if Donald Parham does come back and it's Darnell Washington, Donald Parham, Michael Pittman Jr., and DK Metcalf
and Pat Freiermuth,
wildly large humans, dude. Rico Dowdle in the backfield,
bully ball.
That's crazy. Actually, that's crazy. Oh man, rough and tumble. I kind of like that for the running backs.
Dude, I wish you would have thought of that yesterday.
Me too. Rico, Jalen, rough and tumble. I kind of like that.
That's
Rico's the rough and
so sick.
Jalen's the tumble. I'll tell him.
That's
I'll tell him.
so sick.
I'll tell him. I got a thing tomorrow with the Steelers, so I'll go.
What did someone call the tight ends earlier? Was it the two towers?
The two towers.
Okay, for a minute I was going to say the twin towers, and I was like, why did someone make a 9/11 joke? Like
No.
about tight ends. I was
About
like,
tight ends.
that's in terrible.
That like clearly was like there, like already. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
Like
no,
we
it's
just weren't in on the joke.
Yeah, no, it's a Lord of the Rings thing. I got that now. But
Didn't
like,
know that either. I just thought it was a cool nickname. And it fits.
two towers would actually be good for that. For
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
I like that a lot. If he doesn't come back, which I don't know if I haven't heard anything about him. So there's no chance he's been signed anywhere.
No.
The Simp 88, 12 picks. 12 picks making team chances we bundled 2 to move up. Yeah, for sure. I would guess the Steelers at most pick 9 times in the draft. I think it's going to be somewhere around 7 or 8. That's my guess. I think 2 trades are coming. One in like the first 3 rounds and one in the back half of the draft.
Agreed. Yeah. I think, and you said 9?
I'm guessing 8 or 9 they pick.
Yeah, less than 10.
Yeah.
I think is where they end up because they just, and this is, I think, a quote from Omar Khan. Not a lot of guys go into training camp with 12 rookies.
Yeah, no.
And maybe it's not a quote from Omar Khan, but
It was. He said it for sure. For sure. Maddie, is Brandon Ayuk on the radar? Just wondering. Nada. He is fully anticipated or expected to sign with the Washington Commanders. That is checking in on Brandon Ayuk. How are things going? He's going to sign with the Washington Commanders. That was the response. All right, cool. Sounds good. Moving on.
Jack Driscoll back for another year. Offensive tackle.
Shout out to Jack. I actually did like.
He was on the practice squad for a lot of
a lot of last year. I don't hate that one. I don't hate that one at all. And then we're going to finish off here with Shower Curtain. Noah, with all the great additions during free agency, what do you think the mindset is first round of the draft? Not what position, what's the mindset?
Let's get even tougher.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
Maybe it's leading a little bit too much off of this sort of nicknames for the offense, but no, let's get even tougher. Maybe that is, it doesn't matter if it's D tackle, offensive line, linebacker, safety. Let's get a guy who we know is going to play that, that smash mouth football that the Pittsburgh Steelers are desperately claiming to try to get back to.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I really do like that a lot. I think that could be a mindset for sure. I think the mindset for the Steelers is this year with the pieces that they've collected over the last couple of years and in free agency, get a star. You know what I mean? Just get a star. It's got to be a star that makes sense, but it's not the time to fill certain needs or certain positions. It's get a guy that you're not going to miss on, and that makes sense for your football team.
For sure.
I
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
We'll see. All right, y'all. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. Before you head out of here, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get to 70K and we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.